Over the past year, a new name has consistently surfaced in conversations surrounding Dr. Umar Johnson, and that name is Marianne Lorian. She is the owner and founder of Lorian Vision Productions, and her connection to Dr. Umar began through a film collaboration. She brought Dr. Umar Johnson to Cleveland for a 3-day project, during which they worked closely together. During that time, she provided hotel accommodations and logistical support. However, somewhere along the way, the business agreement fell apart. The situation escalated into a lawsuit, and ultimately, Marianne Lorian won the case. She is also part of the broader conscious community, and her involvement didn't stop with film. She was one of the individuals who donated money to Dr. Umar Johnson's FDMG Academy, a school that, as we know, has yet to come into existence. Now, while Marianne Lorian may not be widely known on social media, she has become well known for one specific reason: publicly challenging Dr. Umar Johnson. And then, on Christmas Day, she stepped forward with what she described as breaking news, information that immediately drew attention and raised even more questions.
It's 40 of us. Now, the reason I'm part of it, yes, I did get a settlement, but they're using all my donation money to show that I was a supporter who did give donation and never received any receipt, and to backtrack to see if he followed proper procedure, whether he has donors tax exempt, or whether I'll have to read the legal term to you guys, but before I lose my train of thought. So it's to show that she was a donor. She gave this money. Here are all her cashier check. She never received any receipts, so now he has to give accountability for that money.
In this case, she, along with 40 other individuals, has taken formal legal action against Dr. Umar Johnson. They've hired legal representation and filed a case demanding full financial transparency. Their questions are direct and unavoidable. How is the donated money being spent? Where exactly did the funds go? They also want clear answers about the future. What is really happening with the school? And when, if ever, will it finally open its doors? But here's the thing. This story doesn't stop there. There's more, and it only gets deeper.
A letter from the attorney that's representing the party of 40 will be sent to him to show good faith that we're willing to sit down and to give him a chance to give an explanation to why this school hasn't been open, or when will this school be open, and then to give explanation on how the donation money are used. Is it being used appropriately for what the donor has given the money for?
In simple terms, she's making it clear that Dr. Umar Johnson is being given the opportunity to respond to the allegations by her and by the other 40 individuals involved. This is his chance to address the claims directly. She was included in the lawsuit for a critical reason. She has documented proof. She has receipts for every dollar she ever donated, and so do the others. Yet, despite all of that money being collected, there has been no visible activity, progress, or financial movement tied to those funds. We've heard similar concerns raised by others before, but what she's describing now goes even further. Some of the additional details she's revealing are deeply troubling, and they raise serious questions about accountability and the handling of donated money.
All the donor, there's one person we tried to include, but they kind of reject her out. This is the woman that I was dating. She didn't fit the criteria, so they claim. But they said she could get an attorney, and the reason she didn't fit the criteria, they call it a romantic encounter. She did give him access to her bank account, where I shared in the last video where he took that $6,000. So they reject her.
She would go on to claim that one woman was excluded from the lawsuit because of her personal involvement with Dr. Umar Johnson. According to her account, the woman, who has 4 children, was allegedly in a romantic relationship with him. In other words, the accusation being made is that Dr. Umar Johnson was allegedly engaging in intimate relationships with his own donors. But the allegations don't stop there. She claims that after a romantic encounter, Dr. Umar Johnson allegedly withdrew $6,000 from the woman's bank account without her consent, an action described as unauthorized and deeply troubling. And even beyond that, she says there is another serious allegation, one that she plans to formally bring forward and leverage against Dr. Umar Johnson, raising even more questions about misconduct, abuse of trust, and accountability.
You were stranded from 7 a.m.? So, yes, Miss Marianne. He asked me to come. He wanted to go over the scene. He said, come on. I don't know if she was telling me the truth or in other words, she said he asked her to come. He wanted to go over some scene, but there was some flirting on both parts. So she was a willing participant. She went to the room. So she said when she got to the room, everything was cool. And then she said, I don't have to get into detail. She was very detailed with me, but I don't have to get into detail. You guys understand what took place. And then she said, after that, he said, you need to leave. And then she told me, she's like, I told him, I said, when you asked me to come, my cousin said, there's not enough gas for me to drop you and come pick you up. Or you're going to have a ride back. And I told them when I was on the phone with you, you told me, come on, we'll figure it out. And she's like, I don't have a ride back. I can't leave. And she said he was insisting, you can't stay here. I'm a leader. They can't pick me up in the morning, and I'm coming out of my hotel room with a woman. You have to leave.
This allegation is especially serious because she claims that Dr. Umar Johnson invited a woman to his hotel room. What followed, according to her account, was an intimate encounter. After which, she says he immediately dismissed her and told her to leave. The woman reportedly had no transportation and no way to get home, yet she claims Dr. Umar Johnson told her, listen, I'm a leader. They can't see you leaving this room. You need to go right now. The allegation paints a picture of power, control, and disregard for her safety. Now, some people might try to dismiss this and say, all right, maybe she's angry, maybe she's bitter, maybe she's just a hater. There's no way this could be true. Many would argue that Dr. Umar Johnson would never do something like this. But the problem is, there is evidence suggesting that Dr. Umar Johnson has engaged in inappropriate relationships with his followers, which makes this allegation far harder to ignore.
To feminine energy, when she took her underwear off, brothers and sisters, she smelled like something crawled up inside of her and died. She smelled like an old fish tank. You ever smell a fish tank that somebody ain't cleaned in like 2 years? They got goldfish in there, they got all kind of fish, and it ain't been cleaned in years. That's what she smelled like when she took off those funky ass drawers. Her drawers were so old and so funky that I thought it was a wife beater. That's how stretched out her drawers was. Her drawers were so old and so funky, I thought her underwear was a slingshot. Her drawers were so funky and so stank, brothers and sisters, that I thought it was a wife beater, brothers and sisters, and I don't mean no disrespect. So when she said, it's my turn, after she got finished swallowing the Shango, she said, it's my turn. After she got finished swallowing the Prince of Pan-Africanism, she said, it's my turn. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying to myself, how do I get out of this?
According to these allegations, Dr. Umar Johnson doesn't just prey on women, he also takes their money. And this isn't being said lightly. The claim is that he targets a very specific group, typically middle-aged women, often single mothers, women who already have financial resources. The accusation is that he avoids women he would need to financially support. Instead, he allegedly surrounds himself with women in their 40s and 50s, women who are stable, women who can provide access to cars, housing, and other resources. This, according to the claim, is part of a deliberate pattern of manipulation. She further alleges that he even asks some of these women to care for his mother, explaining that if he were involved with younger women, 25 or 30 years old, he would be expected to spend money, something she claims he intentionally avoids. What makes these accusations even more disturbing is that Dr. Umar Johnson himself has publicly spoken in graphic and inappropriate ways about women, including intimate details he openly admitted to. And yet, this is the same individual who presents himself as a Black community leader. Now, other Black women are stepping forward saying, "It wasn't just me." They claim he scammed them financially and took advantage of women during professional encounters, including when he was invited to a film project in Ohio. She says there is documented evidence from two separate incidents, one involving a woman who could not be included in the lawsuit, and another woman she personally knew during her film production. She admits she feels regret for not helping that woman at the time. But then she says something that changes everything. The most important statement she makes about this entire situation.
I was outnumbered. You have to understand, these are conscious people, and they wanted to do the route of sitting down. In the conscious community, going to court, it's not a thing they really practice. That's something that will be used for the extreme last resort, and he knows this, and I think he preys on that. And also for me, with someone with a religious background, they advise you to take one or two, settle matter. Court is also used for a last resort. But what I want to say publicly is there's a lot of people that may not give their money back, but I'm glad that I was able to retrieve mine and help a select few to get their money back and to stop him from preying on the community.
She says something that really stands out, something I've actually discussed before on my channel. She explains that when she first wanted to take action, she was completely outnumbered. Within the conscious community and the pro-Black community, there's a strong resistance to going to court. People don't want to report one another. There's a feeling that using the legal system means turning the white man against the Black man. So instead, the mindset becomes, let's keep this private. Let's talk to the brother. Let's not expose this publicly. The goal is always to handle it internally and avoid public accountability. But this, she says, is exactly what Dr. Umar Johnson relies on. He depends on that silence. He counts on people not speaking up, not filing reports, not going public. And that's why, when Dr. Umar Johnson commented on the 50 Cent and Diddy situation, particularly when 50 Cent began exposing Diddy, his response revealed a lot. And he said something that connects directly to this entire issue.
And I have no problem with Black people holding Black people accountable. I'm having a problem with Black people needing to expose Black people that in-depthly.
Yeah.
But you never expose white people who do things to Black people.
The reason he said that, and I've discussed this before, is because many people in the pro-Black and conscious community prefer opacity. And opacity simply means a lack of transparency, things staying cloudy, vague, and hidden. That's how some people want it. If they can convince you never to call out other Black people and only focus on blaming white systems, then they're free to do whatever they want. They can exploit women, misuse donations, avoid accountability, and face no consequences. This isn't just about Umar Johnson. Black preachers and community leaders have done this for decades, with scandals quietly swept under the rug because no one wanted to speak up. That culture still exists today. People are shamed for demanding accountability, yet at the same time, they complain about the lack of development and broken structures in the Black community. You can't have it both ways. If someone wants to be respected as a leader, then they must live by standards. A leader can't preach discipline on podcasts, ask for donations, and then fail to build anything meaningful while using community resources for personal benefit. That's not leadership. That's a problem. The truth is, real change only happens when these issues are brought into the open. Silence protects wrongdoing. Transparency forces fairness. When misconduct is exposed publicly, people can no longer hide, ignore complaints, or manipulate behind closed doors. But instead, figures like Dr. Umar Johnson continue to be protected by gatekeepers, invited back to major platforms, defended by institutions, and treated as untouchable. If he were any other race, he would have been removed long ago. Instead, the system keeps rewarding him. And that's why so many people in the pro-Black and pan-African communities continue to get hurt. Across the diaspora, from America to Africa, the same pattern exists. We avoid self-accountability, blame others, and then wonder why trust is broken and communities are fractured. When fairness isn't enforced, people disengage. They stop supporting Black businesses, stop trusting leaders, and stop believing in the movement. So the question is simple. Do we want protection or progress?